We're developing a new service, and I wanted to tell you about it today. You know, in medicine, you've heard the term caveat emptor. Merriam-Webster says it's a principle of commerce. Without a warranty, the buyer takes the risk. I don't think that's quite as clear as this other dictionary term. The principle that the buyer alone is responsible for checking the quality and the suitability before a purchase is made. Now, what's that got to do with medicine? Everything. Tell me a place that is more buyer beware and more difficult to understand what you're buying than medicine. So one of the most common ways that people get prevention is seeing some combination of their own docs, their cardiologist, their family practitioner, their internist. I shared a video with you recently about Dr. Brewer. I'd rather see you, but I live in Connecticut, and by the way, my cardiologist has me on high-dose Lipitor. I'd rather be on low-dose Crestor. He refused. What do I do? So prevention is critical. And here's the thing. There are very few docs that are trained in prevention. And I'll just go ahead and I'm going to brag for a minute because it's something you need to know, and it has everything to do with buyer beware. If you're getting your preventive medicine from a family practitioner, they've had some training in it. Internists have had some training in it. Cardiologists have had some training in it. But none of them are trained preventive medicine clinical specialists. That's what I've had training in. I trained in it at Johns Hopkins. So it wasn't a no-name school. And not only did I train in it, I was faculty there. Not only faculty, but I ran the program training other doctors in preventive medicine at Johns Hopkins. So again, buyer beware. If you go to somebody who's a family practitioner, let's hope you get some good service. A lot of people get preventive medicine services from the SPA experience. This one is the California Health and Longevity Institute. You get great food, a great yoga experience, wonderful rooms and amenities. Canyon Ranch is probably the best known. It's amazing the number of people that first come out sounding like they know a little bit about prevention, and they talk about Canyon Ranch being the ultimate preventive experience. Now, Canyon Ranch is probably the biggest, but it's a SPA experience. Now, it has a lot of prevention experiences. It's got a lot of different experiences. It's got multiple locations: Tucson, Lenox, Woodside, California, Vegas, even cruises. But is it prevention? Well, here's what you're paying for. The price and the experience is driven by the room rate. $1,400 a night, $1,459 a night for the room. This one is in I don't know, it looks like Arizona to me, but you don't get nice rooms with me. You don't get great food. We have brought in food a couple of times. It tends to be takeout. It's healthy food, but it's not spa. And speaking of spa, you don't get hot rock massage or any other kind of massage with us. You don't get that kind of stuff with us. You could go get all that stuff at the Four Seasons for a year. Now this is, you pay $98.50 at the California Health and Longevity Institute just for the membership in the medical part of CHLI. That doesn't include any of the copays or the deductibles that you'd have to pay. They submit most of their charges to your insurance company. And it also doesn't include any of the hotel or food or any of those amenities. But they do have docs. And ask them what their specialties are. So back to the specialty, would you go to an internist for an orthopedic problem or an orthopedist for an internal medicine problem? People do that all the time. Do you go to an emergency medicine doc for a pulmonary problem? Again, people do that stuff all the time, and it just has to happen. But really, that has to happen in emergent situations. It has to happen in terms of access situations. But when you're paying your own money and you're not relying on insurance and you've got time to investigate what you're purchasing, I think I'd go to a preventive medicine doc. We know what we're going for: heart attack and stroke, and dementia, and blindness, and kidney disease. We also know what the issues are. Every 40 seconds, somebody dies from a heart attack. Every 4 minutes, somebody dies from a stroke. And those are the lucky ones. The unlucky ones blow out enough of their heart to where they're bedridden with congestive heart failure. Or they have a stroke and are in a wheelchair for a couple of decades. So again, yes, you can go to your local cardiologist and get Lipitor, like high-dose Lipitor. If you're a female and you have diabetes, caveat emptor, buyer beware. Oh, and by the way, let's forget this maybe subtle discussion and argument about cardiovascular inflammation and Lipitor versus Crestor or some of the other statins. Let's think about the major thing that's killing all of us, or the most of us, killing most of us. My cardiologist told me I had a touch of sugar. He said to see my PCP. My doctor told me to stop adding so much sugar to my coffee because it's a little bit high. My doctor never mentioned diabetes. I'm glad you found it. That's OAG, Old Alabama Gardener. He did a few videos for us. I don't have a blood sugar problem. My doc checks it, and I check him. That was John Lorscheider, the first time he and I met. 3 months later, he said, I've got diabetes, full-blown diabetes, and even retinopathy, and I am so glad you pushed on this issue. So, again, yes, you can go to who you want to go to. You can go to the spa experience, have a lot of fun for a week, eat good food, do some great hiking in the desert, have a good interaction with a doc, talk about your cholesterol levels, get a stress test, and pass your stress test and do well. And then die 3 months later from a heart attack, just like Tim Russert did. Docs typically are not focused on the preventive aspects, the preventive focus on insulin resistance. Gene Lovell, for example, said to me, yeah, my doc told me I had a sugar problem, but Ford, it wasn't until I met you and you made that face when you said, Gene, you're boiling your arteries. I finally got it. I went low carb and I lost 50 pounds. And Gene's in a much better space now. So again, caveat emptor, be careful what you purchase, especially in this space. Now, what I wanted to do was talk with you for a minute about a new service that we're providing. And again, it's focused on getting you the real information. I've had, how many comments have you seen on the channel where people say, well, it's too expensive. I can't afford coming to see you. Okay, I've got 500 videos out there, absolutely free. And I know I haven't had a lot of discussion on the channels, but I know from having run a MDLIVE and a couple of other telemedicine companies, there is an assumption that telemedicine's poor quality. Compared to a local doc who's missing diabetes, I'm not so sure. Then we do get complaints where I can't figure it out. There's too much information on the videos, and I don't even know what you've done videos on and what you haven't done videos on. I understand that. And in fact, we're going to go back to that in just a minute, because that's what this new service is about. We even have people that want to do a concierge service. I'm not going to explain too much about my position on that. I got mixed emotions, but we do provide it. Here's the contact information for Michelle, and she can help you get started if you would like. But as I said, there's more. There's a person named Charlene Dean. Charlene was the medical RMA, medical assistant, a few years ago back in Tennessee. She's always lived in Texas. She did some work for us long distance. She went on to work with Gina for a couple of years, and then has been very excited about the library of videos that I've built. She's noticed the same thing that you've noticed and I know. There's too much information out there. It's not curated. It's not organized. People don't know where the information is. So Charlene has met with a software group, and they're starting to develop a curation organization system. So as part of Seeing Us, we have a service, or we're developing a service where you can also work with Charlene. She'll not only provide you with a lot of the basic explanations of the labs that we use, which she's done for years, but she'll also help you understand exactly which videos you need to be watching for your specific problem. So again, as you look at this kind of service, no, you're not going to get 5-star amenities. You're not going to get luxury. You're not going to get hikes in the desert or cruises, but you're going to get the right information. And that's what helps you prevent your heart attack and stroke and live a long, non-disabled life. Thank you again for your interest.